Well, this is the first match that Brighton are playing at the Amex this season. They'll be looking forward to a big home crowd, hoping that support leads them to victory. Leicester City, though, will have other ideas as they search for only their second win of this campaign and search for a first away from home after no wins in their last 20 on the road. Let's hear from both managers. We'll start with the Brighton boss. I can tell you there's no Fran Kirby today in the home team. So why is she missing?
Yeah, look, managed to train, but then the following day just didn't recover as well. So it was just too much of a risk for her, and she unfortunately is not ready for today.
As you said, you could have potentially got more out of your game at Liverpool, but you ended up needing a last-minute equaliser to get anything at all. Is that the message this afternoon, to take your chances, to be a little bit more clinical?
Yeah, look, it's probably the message in every single game. So it's the only way to win is that you limit chances and defend them well. And when we do create the ones that we do create, that we're able to put them in the back of the net. So the positive is we are still creating a lot, creating some really, really good chances. And now it's just about being clinical and putting them in the back of the net.
And a good opportunity potentially today against the side who do find life a little bit tough on the road to put a bit of poor form behind you and maybe use this as a bit of a spring in your step.
Look, we've not thought of that once to look at the form and none of that, because we know, like last season, blink of an eye, we were 3-0 down. So if we're not ready, every single team in this league is very, very dangerous. So we've prepared like everyone else to the best detail that we can, and then now it's just about executing it, and yeah, it will come down to the performance.
Rick, 3 changes from last weekend, one of them enforced, but can you talk us through your team today?
I think when you look at the team, and it gives a great opportunity for the whole squad, we've obviously got changes because of injuries, and particularly autumn brings a few bugs and germs. So unfortunately, Missy's not in the squad. She's had to stay at home with that one. And then a little bit of a change regarding Julie. She's also had a bug this week. So we've got a duty of care to ensure that we look after each player and put the best 11 on the pitch for this occasion.
And obviously sad to lose Naomi Mouchon coming into this game from last weekend, but it does give an opportunity for other players in your attacking lineup to really show what they're about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody really conducts and trains themselves appropriately to a professional environment, so it opens the doors and opportunities for the full squad to come to the game and claim a shirt.
I wonder who she's supporting this afternoon. The Seagulls, of course, the hosts of this game. And it looks like she will be one of the bigger supporters of the home side today as Brighton play their first game of this season at the Amex. A result yesterday in the Barclays Women's Super League. Manchester City, the league leaders, claiming a 3-0 victory at the Etihad against Manchester United. As well as this match today, Aston Villa host London City Lionesses. Liverpool take on Chelsea. It's West Ham against Everton. And the late kickoff today is the North London derby, Tottenham against Arsenal. So this is how the table currently looks. Manchester City, of course, playing yesterday, remain top. Chelsea, even if they win away at Everton today, would still not be able to move above them in the table. A win for either team in the North London derby would move them into the top 3. Some of the players just coming out on a mild and clear afternoon here at the Amex Stadium. Neither of these sides claiming a win since September. Just 3 victories in the Barclays Women's Super League between the two teams. will be Megan Wilson, the referee that leads out the two sides. Brighton captain Maisie Simons. Leicester have Sam Tierney as their skipper today. Flamethrowers and pyrotechnics ahead of kickoff. This is one of two special matchday takeovers. Brighton teaming up with UNICEF, using this game and the men's game against Brentford on the 22nd of November to highlight different children's rights. Shake of hands between the two head coaches. Three changes to the Brighton side that claimed a late win against Liverpool in their last WSL match. No Fran Kirby, as we were hearing, who is injured. Carla Camacho also missing for the host. Caitlin Hayes drops to the bench. And Pume and Nordam make their second WSL starts of the season. Madison Haley starts up front. For Leicester City, Naomi Mouchon picked up an injury in their late draw away against West Ham. Three changes from that starting 11. Celeste Beret, Jutta Rantala and Shannon O'Brien, who came off the bench to score in the 97th minute last weekend, all starting. Chance for the players to go into a huddle. A few last words before this game kicks off. The two captains in conversation with the referee. Of course, both of these sides would usually play in blue, so Leicester in a change strip of pink this afternoon. Rick Passmore, their manager, who was in interim charge at the start of the season, a role that has since been made permanent. So Megan Wilson, your referee. Both of these teams scored late goals away from home to share the points in their last Women's Super League matches. Today, they'll be hoping for all three. I'm Emma Jones, your summariser, the Northern Ireland manager, Tanya Oxtoby. And we're hoping for a good game this afternoon.
Yeah, we are. Two sides desperate to get a win. So hopefully some great attacking play and some good goals.
Smita L down within the first 20 seconds of the game. And an early foul leads to a very early free kick for the visitors. Launched to the edge of the 18-yard box. It'll go out for a throw-in that Kane will take. Comes back to Kane, a couple of times on this near side and then ends up going out of play. The Brighton goalkeeper will leave it to one of her defenders, Minami, to collect. Brighton, I think of these two sides, you would say, Tanya, probably the more disappointed with how their season's going so far, just in terms of maybe the expectations on this side after last season.
Definitely, and I think when you look at the injuries that they've had across the last couple of weeks and the players that they're missing, I think it's really tested the depth of their squad. And you know, they're a team that obviously want to be really high possession based and look to create a lot of opportunities, and they probably haven't converted as many of those as they would like. So I think we heard Vidicic talking about that in his pre-match, and it's something that they really want to focus on for today.
Leicester trying to press forward again, and another blow of the referee's whistle. Pull on the shirts from the Brighton defender. It will be Tierney to take the resulting free kick. We weren't quite sure how this Leicester side were going to line up this afternoon, so Tanya and I are just trying to work that out as
just letting it settle down, aren't we? Just to see, they've played a couple of different formations and shapes, so it's just trying to work out, obviously with the illnesses and the injuries they've had, you know, and they're away from home, what system they're looking to use.
Still no Cayman for them, out with an injury, and we were hearing from Rick Passmore ahead of the match about the injuries and also the illnesses that have meant that he's had to make some changes this afternoon to this side. That's the challenge, isn't it, for you managers?
Nothing's ever simple. Who would want that job, hey? Who would want that job?
Elle with the throw. Comes back to her, and now Brighton pick it up, and another blow of the whistle. This time Brighton awarded a free kick.
Just a little bit late there, trying to get a little bit of pressure on the ball, but just a little bit late, and gives Brighton an opportunity to set up an attack.
Trying to burst forward. No Fran Kirby today for Brighton. I think she was a doubt, wasn't she? And they didn't really want to risk her today. So, but she is here, and she's sat and she's sensibly wrapped up.
She is. Saw her sort of sat with the manager during the warm-up, so she's definitely in and around and involved. And she's the type of player you don't want to take any risks with, because you don't want something that is maybe a 1 or 2 week injury becoming, you know, anything more than that, because she's such an important part of what Brighton are looking to build.
2 goals in the Women's Super League already this season for Fran Kirby, but missing today for the home side, who now waiting to launch this back onto the pitch. Olislaga's with the throw. There's Cankovic. Now though, back with Kane. Now there's a little bit of pressure on the Leicester City defence.
It's good pressing there from Brighton, and it's been a feature of their game. The good back press there, not letting Leicester out easily, and then getting an opportunity now to obviously try and reset themselves again.
Forward from Ale. Now into the 18-yard box. Nandosi drops down to get her gloves to it. Back out to Ale, but promising move for Leicester on that wing.
Good build-up play there from Leicester, and really sort of drawing Brighton out into the areas maybe they don't necessarily want to defend. And yeah, a little bit of an awkward one there inside the 6-yard box, but kept it alive and recycled it.
Bounces down to the chest of McLaughlin, turns back to Beret, who's in the middle of a back three, isn't she?
Yeah, we were wondering how they were going to line up. They are looking to use the wide areas, I think, Leicester, with a wing-back formation. So it'll be really interesting to see if they can exploit Brighton in those areas. They've had a little bit of success early on, but the spaces they then leave down the sides of their centre-backs is something that Brighton will look to exploit, I think.
The hosts, Brighton, in 8th place in the table at the moment on 8 points. The 2 wins they have collected so far this season have come at home. Leicester just 1 win so far this season. A place and 2 points below their host today in the table. Comes back to Rule. Pass is picked up by Leicester, and well, they tried something from distance there. And Rantala not really forcing a scramble from Nadosi, who could see that that was clearly going well wide.
And it's an area I think Leicester will think they can get a bit of joy from, setting the traps and looking to press. Brighton do like to play and be possession-based, as we said, so these will be opportunities that Leicester will look to exploit and counter effectively, and they saw a good opportunity there.
Ale tries to play it back up the pitch to McLaughlin, comes back to Ale as well. Sting plenty of the ball, isn't she, at the moment on that left-hand side for Leicester. And we were mentioning the absence of Frank Kirby, and sadly no Michelle Adjeman either for Brighton for the rest of this season. Of course, returned to Brighton on loan from Arsenal after having a brilliant summer with her country, and just the really sad news of an ACL injury. It seems like a constant theme, doesn't it, in women's football, Tanya?
Yeah, and she is such a huge miss for Brighton, because everything that they do is set up around having her, obviously, you know, in terms of that number 9 position, and it's something Brighton are obviously going to have to look at in the transfer window, I think, because they don't necessarily have an out-and-out replacement in that area, and for them to be picking up points and play the way that they want to, it's definitely something that they're going to have to explore, you know, across the transfer window.
I mean, what a player to be able to have, even on loan. But then to lose her, a big blow for Brighton. Ball is turned back to Leipzig. It's encouraging her team up the pitch.
You just look at how high Ale is getting on that left-hand side, and really trying to overload the fullbacks for Brighton, especially on that Brighton right side and Leicester left side.
Now with Oleslagers. Minami collects the ball again. Kane is there for Leicester. Will go out on that far side. Leicester have a throw-in. El with the throw. Push on O'Brien. Fair, says the referee. To Oleslagers. Chankovic. Well, Well, Brighton turning it backwards at the moment. They're not getting out of their own half.
No, they're not. And I think the way that Leicester are set up, it's really preventing central spaces for Brighton. They're trying to be patient and work the angles, but the ball speed's probably not quick enough to disrupt or affect the Leicester setup at the moment. And they just need to be really careful, Brighton. They're giving the ball away in those sort of deeper spaces, trying to build a couple of times now. And Leicester is obviously something that they've worked on and they feel they can get some joy from.
Now it's lifted high up the pitch. And Amita Seke. Seke not being allowed to put the cross in. The block is there from Boré.
It's excellent 1v1 defending there, tracking the run all the way through and standing up, not diving in and selling herself too early there, and a really good tackle. Now a really good opportunity for Brighton, obviously off a set piece.
So first corner of the game goes to Brighton. Olislagers, it's a low one. Sort of was aimed low towards the edge of the 18-yard box, and all it found was a Leicester City clearance.
You can see what they were trying to do there, Brighton. I think they were looking for Kankovic on the edge of the box on her left foot, but well read by Leicester and cut that out early doors. But I like the creativity from Brighton, trying to think outside the box, and it's obviously something they feel that they can look to exploit. It'll be interesting if they get another opportunity, what they look to do with it.
Olislagers again. Ball forward to Haley. One of the three changes from the side that started their late draw away against Liverpool. Latest Women's Super League match for the Brighton manager. Had a League Cup match since then, lost 1-0 to top of the WSL to Charlton in midweek. But both of these sides had to score very late equalisers against the two teams in Liverpool and West Ham, who thought they might be heading towards their first points, their first wins of this new season, but denied by late equalisers.
Yeah, you can look at that one or two ways, can't you? Either, you know, good character or an ability to obviously grind a result out, or on the flip of that is, you know, and knowing both kind of the teams and how they want to go about things, is that a little bit of a frustration as well in terms of wanting to be controlling games and obviously being in more of the ascendancy. So it's an interesting one. Both teams here are looking to try and wrestle that ascendancy, aren't they, and not get themselves into that position.
So here, no goals yet, but Chelsea with an early goal in their game against Liverpool, in the other games that kicked off at the same time as this one, as it's a lovely cross in from the right-hand side, and Rantala sees her effort pushed away. But there was a decent cross from Kane, and it found its way to Rantala, who tried to volley it in, but denied by the Brighton goalkeeper.
Lovely play by Leicester, really, really good use of the wide spaces and overloading in that back post area and looking to get on the end of things. I think it's definitely a tactical ploy from them to get those wing backs going into those deeper spaces higher up the pitch and pin Brighton back, or exploit the spaces that their fullbacks have left.
Jutta Rantala, the Finnish international, a knee injury really affected the end of last season for her. Now out to Ollis Slagers. Another goal for an away team. London City Lionesses 1-0 up away against Aston Villa. Of course, London City Lionesses, the team promoted this season, but there is going to be an expanded Barclays Women's Super League next season, so we will see 2 more teams, or an expanded league next season, as the first booking of the afternoon is produced, and it's for Mpume, and I think it's for a pull, isn't it, there?
Yep, again, Leicester's press, really, really good, waiting for the right opportunity. Brighton overplaying in those areas, and she's forced to make the foul there because obviously the error giving the ball away meant she was going to be going through on goal. So the ploy and the patience from Leicester around setting that pressing trap and looking to go at the right times, really causing Brighton some frustration, I think, in possession.
Well, they've already forced a save from the Brighton goalkeeper. Can they test her again from this free kick? And instead of being lifted up into the air, it's actually rolled forwards and intercepted by that Brighton wall. Now Leicester get it back. Minami makes sure she gets her head to it first. Forward to Hayley. Hayley still running. Hayley with a lovely cross in. Comes back for a driven effort that is taken away. That was McLaughlin for Brighton. And now it's Leicester who cross halfway. Good move there, though, by Brighton.
Yeah, good transition moment for them.
Here, though, it's forward, and this is a chance for Leicester. And another stop from the Brighton goalkeeper, Shannon O'Brien this time. Now a cross that comes in, punched away by Nadosi. She's been busy in the first 90 minutes of this game.
Yeah, she has been, and brilliant through ball here, running in off the shoulder. Probably the only disappointing thing there would be to go back across the goalkeeper, because that's where the space was, in that sort of back post space. But good save, keeps it alive. Second phase opportunity here. Leicester have started so brightly in this game, and there'll be some real concern, I think, for Brighton in terms of the opportunities they're giving away at the moment.
Leicester have scored 1 goal away from home so far this season, and they are threatening to score their 2nd goal away from home in the Women's Super League. They have got a corner. Comes in to find a Brighton head, and I think immediately the referee saw some pushing in there and blows her whistle.
And Brighton will breathe a sigh of relief, I think. Just a moment to gather their thoughts and pull themselves together. But another good delivery into the deeper space there for Leicester. I didn't actually see if there was a foul there, but yeah, another opportunity for them to set up a front press here.
It was Rule, the Brighton defender, who got contact with her head on that. But both teams definitely going for it.
Yeah, it's been a good start, I think, a really aggressive start, particularly from Leicester, and I think they've rattled Brighton a little bit, and Brighton need to just sort of settle down and get into their rhythm and think about the solutions in terms of in possession, because I think at the moment Leicester are being really patient with their press. It's causing them a little bit of problems, because there's not as much width probably as what Brighton have been used to, and that's something that is causing them a bit of problems.
Thrown back onto the pitch by Ale. Push on Tierney. She wants to take the free kick quickly. Jankovic had other ideas. I think now she's saying, who wants this?
Yeah, it is interesting. I find that really, really interesting when players stand on the ball. They get away with it to slow the game down, but the end of the day, she is stopping her from taking that free kick quickly, and yet there's no repercussions for that. It's an interesting one, actually, because it's been creeping into the women's game, and yeah, players are clever. They've caught on to that. So it's a good tactic to stop teams, you know, exploiting them before they're organised.
Ball back with the Brighton goalkeeper, new addition this season, previously at Paris FC, the Nigerian international, including some Champions League experience now in that Brighton goal. Turn back to Beret and all the way back to Leipzig, who has not been as busy in the Leicester goal as the home keeper has been so far. Here it's with Swaby. Ale has continued to run down that left-hand side. And Pumé makes sure it goes out for a Leicester City throw-in. Wants to take it quickly, Ale, and manages to do so. Now comes back to McLaughlin. Rolls back to Beret and then across to Keys. And the pass by Keys, not the best one really, and Brighton not really troubled there as they collect it with their defence. It's now back with Rule and forward to Minami. Seke tries to get there. Leipzig just steps out of her 18-yard box, so can't get her gloves on that. Makes sure to take it out of play with her boots instead. Now with Chankovic. Comes into Haley. Just over the head of Maisie Simons.
That ball in behind from Brighton is definitely pleasing to see, because I think when they're sort of playing short, they're getting caught and they need to be able to stretch the play.
Here it's with Leicester. Well, it looked like it might be dropping to Jutta Rantala. Halfway through what has been an entertaining first half so far, and I think has been in Leicester's favour. Rantala there with the latest chance for Rick Passmore's side.
It did look like the Leicester players were appealing for the positioning of the goalkeeper there, just on the edge of her own 18-yard box when she made that save. So it just looked like Brighton switched off from that free kick there and nearly got punished.
Oleslager's just manages to keep the ball in play. Forward from Chankovic. Now with Leipzig. It's a Brighton player down on the pitch, I think, at the moment, but the referee initially allowing play to continue. She just took a look over her shoulder, the official. And good news is that that player does not require play to stop or medical staff to come on. Ball is with Rule. And field from Chankovic. Haley wins a free kick for Brighton, and the referee wants to have a word with Emily van Egmond.
Strategic foul, shall we say, on that one there. Got a little bit too tight, Van Egmond, and got rolled, but certainly wasn't letting the player run away from her. So a reset for Leicester here.
And I think she wanted more than a word, didn't she? I think that's she had her card out there, so a booking for that challenge. Field from Oleslager. Lifted forward, this could be brilliant! Denied by the crossbar. A ball that was lifted forward and then hooked towards the Leicester City goal by Brighton. And it bounces back off the crossbar, comes forward again. Haley tries to leap and make contact with her head.
It's where Brighton have been the most dangerous. It's a brilliant ball over the top, and what a fantastic effort. That's such a difficult technical piece to pull off, and Leicester saved by the crossbar there, but Brighton have looked dangerous when they've gone over the top of Leicester rather than trying to go through, and have caught them napping a couple of times in terms of their line.
Lovely ball forward from the Brighton captain, and then Kickoff seeing her balletic efforts stopped by the crossbar. Onto the ball now, passes it forward to Haley, and Brighton do take the lead. The home side ahead. Seke threading it forward to Madison Haley. It is Brighton 1, Leicester City 0.
Well, Leicester will be so disappointed. They've had the better of the play for the majority of this first half, and they've switched off there, and Brighton have combined really, really well centrally here. The run in behind from Haley, and it's a brilliant finish. Really, really well taken finish, and that's the difference, I think, at both ends there. Is Leicester had a couple of really good chances they didn't take. Brighton have created two and taken one of them, and a deserved lead at that, based off that. She makes this look so easy, just clipping it over the goalkeeper into that far corner.
It looked almost Fran Kirby-esque, didn't it?
It did. She may have been doing some coaching while she's not out on the pitch.
So Madison Haley opens her account for Brighton for the season. A substitute in the recent draw against Liverpool, was her first appearance since the 12th of September. She's been out with an injury, missed quite a bit of last season with an injury as well, the Brighton number 21. But with other players missing at the moment for Brighton. Good that not only was she able to start today, but she's now given the home side the lead. Olislaga's forward. I think the flag might well have gone up as she made contact with that. Just offside, I think, the Brighton player.
I think Brighton have worked out now that there's spaces in behind where the wing-backs would be for Leicester. So being a little bit more direct and looking to try and exploit those spaces down the sides with balls over the top. And as Leicester drop off, those spaces will start to open up to play in front.
Mention those injuries and the illness that have had an impact on Leicester, and that they're missing some important players in defence today, aren't they? They
are, and I think that's whilst Brighton were playing sideways and not really sort of playing any penetrative passes, it was easy for Leicester, and they probably got a good feel as a back three for that. But now that they're looking to play over the top, those decision making and the key link ups that they've got there, they haven't played a lot of football together, so they're going to have to work that one out, what line they want to take and where they want to drop.
Forward from Simons. This is a pass that's being chased by both teams, but it's Swaby who's able to turn it back to a goalkeeper. A block on the edge of the 18-yard box. Seke ends up being pulled over slightly, but she's certainly playing well, isn't she, for Brighton at the moment?
She's at the centre of everything that's going well for them. So, and that's what you want, when you've got players out, the likes of Fran Kirby out, you want your other players to step up and really drag their teammates along with a little bit of creativity, and she's certainly done that.
Ball is with Norda. Now a chance for Brighton to put in another ball from that right-hand side.
really good work, driving to the byline there and looking to get the ball across. But good box defending from Leicester, to be fair to them. And Brighton have now got another opportunity here. Momentum's definitely swung towards Brighton since that goal, so it's about making sure now that they just hold firm for the next 5 or 10 minutes and build themselves back into the game.
The clearance from Swaby leading to this latest corner for Brighton. Alyssa Oleslager's both arms raised. Oleslager's into 6-yard box, and it's Keys who gets her head to it to take it out for a second successive corner. She hadn't been there, though. It was one of those ones that looked like it might have gone all the way in.
It was such an awkward height, and the positioning. The goalkeeper, I think, would have maybe struggled to get to that.
This corner again into the 6-yard box, and I think both teams suggesting that it came off the other team.
Both claiming it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Another good delivery into that sort of near post area there, and well defended again. First contact and putting it up over the bar, but it's a third successive corner now.
Another corner from the same side of that Leicester City goal. And it's another one in from Oleslager's, and it's Ale that gets to it, and she's chasing it to try and make sure it doesn't go out for corner number 4 in quick succession for the home side, all the way back to halfway. Maisie Simons on the ball, the player who's been given the captain's armband this season. Talked about the honour of being made the captain, still relatively young despite vast experience for her already with Brighton.
She's got good leaders around her, like players that have got a lot of experience that will help develop that leadership, and she's growing into that role, and it's good to see that she's embracing it and really enjoying it, and it hasn't affected her performances on the pitch either. If anything, it's enhanced it.
Jankovic behind the free kick decides to roll it square to her captain. Now it comes down, it'll be flicked forwards. Swaby gets her head in the way of a Brighton pass. Leicester try to play it forwards. And this is a game that has really swung one way and then turned the other way, because Leicester were looking so positive and were so threatening, but I think since Brighton have got that goal, that seems to have given them a great deal of confidence, and it's slightly shaken Leicester, I think.
Yeah, it has. They're not getting many numbers high up the pitch now, and they're almost collapsing into a back 5, whereas earlier they were more of a back 3 with their wing backs going higher, so it means they don't necessarily have an outlet when they win the ball back.
Forward to the goal scorer. Comes back, and Kane is back there to turn it back to a goalkeeper. West Ham are leading against Everton. That will be good news for Rhian Skinner's side if they can hold on to that 1-0 lead. And Liverpool have equalised against Chelsea. Well, well, well. Of course, Chelsea in Champions League action in midweek. Trip to Austria for them in the Champions League. But both Liverpool and West Ham will be very keen to collect as many points as they can this afternoon.
Yeah, both teams desperate for some points, aren't they? And trending in the right direction for them, obviously, to begin the first half, but a long way to go, as we saw last week, for both of those sides.
Yes, I think on paper, Liverpool-Chelsea feels like it was only going to go one way, so... but 1-1 at the moment. And there's also an equaliser for Aston Villa at home against London City Lionesses. So plenty of goals. Kind of Manchester City beating Manchester United 3-0 yesterday. Here, Brighton have the lead and have a cross from the right-hand side. Oleslaga's up. She puts in a cross. It might come back for Cankovic. Now with Simons. Hooked back into the 18-yard box by her. Leicester have the players back there to clear. And now there's a blow of the referee's whistle that doesn't go Brighton's way. And you can tell that by the response from most of the fans here at the Amex Stadium.
It's an interesting one because, yeah, the Brighton player got to the ball first, so I'm not quite sure what the referee has sort of seen there. And you can see the frustration from the Brighton bench as well. But free kick given, so time for Leicester to reset and look to relieve some of the pressure.
Forward from Mpome. Now up to Rantala. Rantala plays it forwards. And the pass was to O'Brien. And I think it took a Brighton touch on its way out of play.
And they're the moments for Leicester. They want to try and really punish Brighton, and really good combination, great block, really good block, because that shot was going across the goalkeeper. So really well defended there by Brighton, and Leicester now get an opportunity with a corner.
So the corner is taken, lifted to the far post. Goes out off Rule. There was a tall presence, isn't she, in that Brighton defence?
Versatile as well, sort of playing either on the right or more centrally. She gives Brighton a lot of options and cover in there.
Kane now with another corner for Leicester City. Comes to the near post. Finds a couple of Brighton heads. Laid back to O'Brien, whose shot is blocked. Now Rantala tries to bring it down. Mpome. Cankovic. Brighton quickly forwards. Now back to Cankovic again. Leicester City finally get players back, but Brighton broke quickly there.
They did. It was a very dangerous counter, but Leicester did really well to get their numbers back in the central spaces and look to get their shape back quickly.
Oleslaga's to Simons. Into the left boot of Cankovic, and just a little too strong for Haley, who gives a thumbs up to the pass as it goes out for a goal kick. Well, Brighton have only lost one of their last 5 home games in the Women's Super League, and the last defeat was actually their last home game, which was against Manchester United. And meanwhile, Leicester have not won away from home in 20 WSL matches. If they lose again today, they will set a new record for the longest winless run on the road in the Women's Super League.
Well, that is some stat.
Yeah.
One that you do not want on your record.
Well, they are trailing at the moment, but still, of course, plenty more football to play here. As Oleslaga's plays it in field to Rule. Will Leicester rue the chances that they've had so far? Have been denied by the Brighton goalkeeper a few times, but then at the other end, Brighton were denied by the crossbar not long before they took the lead through Haley. Brought down by Keys there. Little wince from her, but she seems okay. She's quickly back on her feet.
Brighton seem to be using a little bit of a false fullback on this left-hand side to try and get themselves out as well, with Kankovic coming out into the wide spaces to allow Haley to get
Forward
higher.
to Haley, sorry. Suddenly it looked like Brighton were in. Now with Cankovic. Simons to Mpume. She's come up from the back. She decides to go for goal. Comfortable save, though, by Leipzig.
Yeah, trying her luck, driving into the edge of the 18-yard box and then looking to strike, but really comfortable for the goalkeeper, and looking to build now and relieve some of the pressure that they've been under here, Leicester.
Picked up into the air, out of play by Minami. Back on from Kane. Now with Tierney. Tierney with what looked like a promising ball into the Brighton box. But now it is Haley who takes it away. Forward to Seke. McLaughlin, I think, trying to cut it back there, and Leicester's clearance comes to Seke, and might Brighton build something again here. Minami up to Olislagers. Olislagers back to the edge of the 6-yard box. And not too far away from goal number 2 for the home side. Even their defenders are coming high up the pitch. They barely left anybody back, Brighton, here, as they tried to get a second goal before the break.
It's end-to-end stuff, isn't it? Leicester having an opportunity at one end, and then Brighton looking to have their turn. And it's they've got really good numbers in the box there, Brighton, and they'll be disappointed they haven't hit the target and made the keeper work there.
For just a millisecond, it looked like it might be in.
And I think they might be the opportunities that that their Brighton manager was talking about pre-game. You know, those opportunities that they work really, really well, they get into really good areas, and then they just don't quite have the final execution to ensure that they obviously finish that move off. It's and here we see again, this is Kankovic sort of coming out into that false fullback area, really trying to overload this left side.
Left-footed cross in from her. Sets up another Brighton chance. It was Nadine Nordum who made contact with that one, and Leicester had to make sure they got that challenge right.
Brilliant ball and brilliant run and excellent challenge. So really, really good football all around that, because yeah, that is a great ball in behind, but well-tracked run there and good defending, last-ditch tackle.
Ball with Bure. Now across to Swaby. Waiting to see how much more time there will be at the end of the first 45, but it has been a very quick first half. And I was just going to say, there's barely been any stoppages in play, just as Utarantala goes down and requires some medical attention with seconds left of the first 45 here at the Amex.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I'm not sure if she got her foot stood on or what happened there, but I think just looking at the score, and obviously like Leicester will be really, really encouraged by the opportunities they've had, but maybe a little bit disappointed they haven't taken one, and Brighton will certainly be the happier of the two in terms of the position that they're in, and since that goal the momentum's really shifted.
This was the latest chance for Brighton. As you say, a great ball in, a great run, and a really important block from the Leicester defence. Well, we're into 1 minute of stoppage time at the end of the first 45, but I think, considering we headed into that minute with Jutta Rantanen down and receiving some medical treatment, I think we might see a bit more time added after the clock ticks down to 46, as it already has. It will now really be up to the referee to decide when to blow for half-time. And among the supporters here, Toma, one of the Japanese internationals in the men's team, of course, has come along to support Brighton's women. Sure will be pleased that they are heading into the break with the lead. Oleslagers with Cankovic. Haley back to Oleslagers again. Now Haley races into the 18-yard box, and Keys looks like she might have injured herself there in trying to stop that cross from the Brighton goal scorer, and maybe the referee might take the decision here to blow for half-time, perhaps, to allow for any treatment that the Leicester City defender requires. But she looks a little bit stunned here, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think there may have been a little bit of contact with the head there on the follow-through after the initial kind of challenge and the block. But I think one of the things that Leicester will need to look at half-time is this left-hand side for Brighton, with Cankovic coming and pulling out. You know, they've worked out that centrally they're not getting any space, and she's actually pulling out into that sort of full-back area, which is allowing then Brighton to get numbers higher and exploit down this left-hand side. And that's pinning Leicester back into their back five, and their wing-backs can't get out. So it'll be something I think that Rick Passmore and his team will want to have a look at half-time, to see how they can affect or adjust that and get numbers higher up the pitch so that they can be a little bit more effective and get some momentum.
Medical staff there, of course, being understandably cautious with the Leicester City defender. And this might well be the goal that gives Brighton the lead at half-time. Madison Haley. Racing away, both arms stretched out before she is congratulated by her teammates. Her first goal of the season might well be the goal that separates these two teams when the referee blows for half-time. Good to see that Keys is back on her feet. Obviously, we saw them just checking on any potential head injury that she had, if there was any issues with her neck. It does mean that Brighton have a corner to take before that half-time whistle blows. The Slagers with the corner. Will gets her head to it. And then it's Ale to clear for Leicester City. Well, we were shown a minute of stoppage time by the fourth official, but we've had a couple of injuries to Leicester City players in that time. But now the half-time whistle is blown, and both sets of players head back into the dressing room with the home side ahead. The goal scored by Madison Haley in the 27th minute. The home fans will be happiest. At the break, it is Brighton that lead Leicester City by 1-0. But they were winners at home against Leicester last season. The only goal of that game from Nikita Paris. Leicester have had their chances, but she has stood her ground. No changes for either side ahead of the start of this second half. As you would expect, it is the home side wearing the blue and white. It is Leicester City who are in pink this afternoon. Forward to Hayley, little turn from her. Picked up an injury not long after that away game against Leicester last season. Madison Hayley. So it will mean a lot to her, won't it, to be back and to be scoring again, Tanya?
Yeah, she'll just want to get a bit of rhythm, I think, and a bit of consistency, and she'll take a lot of confidence from that finish in particular because it was brilliantly executed.
Brighton played in, and oh, this is a chance! And right at the start of this second half, Mpume makes it 2-0 to the home side. The defender from the edge of the 18-yard box gives the home fans something more to celebrate. Brighton now 2-0 up against Leicester City.
I think Leicester played themselves into trouble there and got caught in the Brighton press and had good numbers forward because of it. So really patient play here on the edge of the box by Brighton, intricate play and build up, and it's a really, really good finish, really cool finish from the defender there because it's easy to get a little bit carried away on the edge of the 18-yard box, but she just side foots that straight into the back of the net, and you know, Leicester will be really disappointed to come out and start the second half in that manner.
Hannah Kane is just receiving a bit of medical attention. It's like the back of that right leg is the issue that she has. And that was the worst possible start to this second half for Rick Passmore's side.
It's so frustrating as a manager. You're just giving you a half-time team talk. You're in the game 1-0. You come out and then you concede a second one really, really quickly. It's really, really frustrating because they're now having to really go and chase the game, whereas before they were sort of still in it.
Only her second start for Brighton today. The goal scorer in this second half, who's on the ball at the moment, of course, spent last season at Chelsea. Was concussed in the game against Arsenal, which Arsenal only won through an own goal. And so had to miss some football due to that. But a second goal for Brighton right at the start of this second half. And they are pushing forward again through Hayley. But she was rather running out of pitch. I'm not sure if it had gone out of play before she tried to turn it in at the tightest of angles. Leipzig certainly got a glove to it, but I think it might have gone out already.
Yeah, they are causing all sorts of problems down this left-hand side, Brighton. We spoke about it in the first half, and Hayley picking the ball up and driving all the way to the end line there and looking to obviously cut it back, but just ran out of a little bit of space. But it was an issue in the first half, and it's continued to be a little bit of an issue in the second half for Leicester. That left-hand side for Brighton is causing problems.
Are you surprised that's not something that the Leicester City manager is try to deal with, or is he just missing the personnel to do anything about that?
I'm not sure. He may have addressed it and it just hasn't been executed yet, or you know, at 1-0 they're still trying to obviously get themselves back in the game, so they didn't feel they wanted to necessarily make that change. But at 2-0 you now need to think about how you're going to affect that, because I think the wing backs are getting pushed deeper and deeper for Leicester, and that means they don't have an outlet, and at 2-0 they're going to have to go and chase the game a little bit more.
It's all Brighton at the moment, though. They fancy a third quite soon after going 2-0 up. Seke forwards. Return from Nordum, but Leipzig collects. Yeah, a reminder of that away form from Leicester City. Last away win in the WSL was on the 28th of January 2024. Have not won away in 20 Women's Super League matches on their travels since then. And is that something, Tanya, that will be in these players' minds? Will it be almost in their muscle memory that they've forgotten how to win away from home?
It's a difficult one because I think, you know, because it's such a long run of games across a number of seasons and you've had different managers in there, I think that as a playing group, you'd like to think that that's not necessarily something that they are conscious of, you know, within the performance that they're trying to put out there. But it certainly affects your confidence, I think, when you haven't had a big away win for a long time. And, you know, they were in the game, Leicester, in that first half. So to find themselves 2-0 down is disappointing.
Launch forwards. McLaughlin's there. The cross gets a block from Ale, who is thanked by her goalkeeper. And Brighton are finding passes in space everywhere at the moment.
They are. They're turning the screws, and at the moment it feels like another goal is inevitable. You know, and I think that's where Leicester probably just need to stem the momentum a little bit and try and just ride this wave out and give themselves an opportunity to build themselves back into this second half.
Brighton 1-0 up at half-time, instantly getting a second at the start of this second 45. And now Oleslagers waits behind their latest corner. Rolls it to the edge of the penalty area. Return from Cankovic. And Leicester having to sit back at the moment, trying to deal with this pressure from Brighton. Haley hoping to win the ball back.
It's the second time Brighton have tried that short corner, looking to drive it along the edge of the 18-yard box, and both times Leicester have read it quite well, so they might just need to rethink the strategy from that side and what areas they're looking to exploit.
Leicester are the first team to make a change, and Hannah Kane is the player who's coming off, who saw she was having a bit of an issue, didn't we, with her right leg. And so she comes off, Hannah Kane, and Rosella Ayan is the player who replaces her. So first substitution is made by Leicester City.
I think you're right, that's probably an injury change as opposed to a tactical change there, and one that you don't want to make necessarily after half-time.
Simons back to her defence. Tierney standing in the way of Cankovic. Now with Mpome. No Leicester player in her way, really, as she is able to play it up the pitch to McLaughlin. Now Ale finds Rantala for Leicester City. And the pass to O'Brien is only going to find its way back to the Brighton goalkeeper. The home side 2-0 up. And they're looking very kind of confident at the moment, aren't they? Which is not what Leicester City needs.
Yeah, they are. They are. And they're getting pulled apart a bit here, Leicester.
Nordam now with the cross, and Boré just make sure that goes out. It will lead, though, to another corner for the home side. Had to get there before Kiko Seke, the Leicester City defender. Well, she's tried a few different things from corners. She's had enough corners to try different things.
Yeah, we'll see where this one goes.
Slagers this time with a long one to the far posts. Now it's Nadosi forwards to the corner taker. Still going, goes with the shots. Pushed away by Leipzig. Slagers that time.
Goalkeeper would have got an assist for that if that had gone in. It's a brilliant ball out from the Brighton goalkeeper there, and allowing her to come inside and cut inside on her left foot there, and it's a good save from the goalkeeper for Leicester, but all too easy at the moment for Brighton.
Another corner for Brighton. He was trying to get ahead to it. It's Rantala. I think he's able to take it away. McLaughlin back to Nadosi, who's sort of sitting in midfield at the moment. As you say, not about a minute or so ago was the player who might have provided the assist for Brighton's third goal of this game.
Just playing as a pivot in the inside the half.
What does that say, though, about what she's expecting from Leicester? Very little if she's happy to be that far out from her goal.
And I think the problem at the moment, Leicester are pinned into a back five and they're not able to get out, and Brighton are working in those spaces just in front of where the midfield and the back five would sort of be. And if Leicester don't jump out and press, they've got time on the ball, and if they jump out, they're pressing too late, and therefore they're leaving spaces in behind. So it's causing a bit of a problem. I wonder if a shape change might be warranted here for Leicester to get a little bit more pressure on the ball in the higher spaces.
Forward to Chankovic. And Pomey's carried on running down this near side. The score of the second goal for Brighton. Now with Aolo. Comes back to McLaughlin and then across to Simons. All the outfield players for Brighton inside the Leicester City half. I wouldn't be surprised if their goalkeeper's not too far away from the halfway line. Little back heel from Sekeo. What a shame. Just in terms of that build-up, it did look like it was going to be quite a nice goal to describe in terms of the build-up play, but if McLaughlin had a chance, but the flag was raised by the referee's assistants.
Yeah, very intricate play there on the edge of the 18-yard box, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a little bit of a tactical timeout, if you like, for Leicester, just to be able to get some information on, break the momentum up, because at the moment they're really, really struggling. And you can see Rick Passmore's hand gestures there. He's putting up 4 fingers, so I wonder if there might be a little bit of a shape change here to be able to get a bit more pressure on.
Interesting, looking at the two sides' form so far. Of course, Brighton a place and 2 points above Leicester City in the table. For Brighton, that means not great form. They've only claimed fewer wins at this stage in a season in their first 2 top-flight campaigns. That was 2018-19, 90-20. Only won 2 of their matches of the 8 that they've played so far this season, obviously leading 2-0 at the moment. For Leicester, 6 points from their opening 8 WSL games of this season. They've only picked up more points at this stage once in the WSL. That was in the 23-24 season. So you can tell from that the kind of differing maybe expectations from both of these sides. Brighton were kind of the best of the rest, I suppose, last season. 15 points below 4th placed Manchester City. They finished in 5th place last season.
Yeah, definitely by their high standards, Brighton have underachieved so far. And you heard Vidicic talk about they were getting in good areas, but they weren't necessarily being as clinical as he would like. And he'll be looking for a little bit more of that in this second half, I think.
Well, they have been reasonably clinical. Here it's with Simons. Still with Simons, ends up sliding down on her knees as Leicester stopper finding a way into their 18-yard box. An hour has been reached here at the Amex. It's interesting that they've both had as many shots on target in this game, but Brighton have had over 2/3 of the possession so far, and they are 2-0 up as things stand. Now with Seke, and I think the referee saw a pull there on a Leicester City defender. She's claiming her innocence, but the referee saw that.
Yeah, I think Emily Van Egmont used all her experience there, maybe felt a bit of contact and drew the free kick, but it does look like Leicester has gone to a back four, so it'll be interesting to see what the midfield shape in front of that looks like.
Forward to O'Brien. There's an arm raised by a Brighton defender, and I think the referee's assistant agrees as that flag is raised. They look quite tight on O'Brien, I thought.
Yeah, and that's what Leicester need to do a little bit more of, try and stretch in behind and not let Brighton commit as many numbers high up the pitch and pin them back a little bit. So being a bit of a threat on the counter is important so that they can actually assert some control back in this game.
No wins in 4 for Brighton in the Women's Super League. Neither of these sides have won since September. And West Ham have extended their lead against Everton. Shakira Martinez, who had a brilliant end to last season with West Ham, has given them a 3-0 lead in that game. So at the moment it looks as if West Ham might be collecting very valuable 3 points here. The 3 points are going to be staying with Brighton at the moment as Haley looks to play in Seke. And those Leicester players are going to feel exhausted already, aren't they? We're 63 minutes in.
It does look a little bit that way. I think Brighton were able to sort of easily play out there and switch from one side to the other without too much trouble. So I just wonder what sort of other changes Rick Passmore has off the bench, given the injuries and the illness that he's had, obviously, to deal with. It's some fresh legs might be needed, but it's how and when he looks to do that.
Yeah, it's what those options are really today. So here it's with Rantala. Negman tries to get there for Leicester. Now back to Leipzig. But the importance of that second goal for Brighton means that, you know, that Leicester have now got a slightly steeper hill to climb, haven't they? And Brighton might kind of give them, you know, little glimpses like we're seeing now, but they will know that they've got that 2-goal cushion.
Yeah, the second goal really gives them a little bit of a cushion. And look, every manager will tell you 2-0 is such a dangerous scoreline, but you'd much rather be sat at 2 than you would at 1. So, and I think the way in which Brighton are controlling the game at the moment will probably please Vidicic the most, because at the moment there's not a lot of threat from Leicester, whereas in the first half there was. So Brighton have definitely wrestled control back.
Well, I imagine he'll be fairly happy with what he's seen so far. We were just seeing Rick Passmore as well, the Leicester City manager, who'd spoken of them trying to sort of cancel out the noise at the start of the season as being one of the favourites to get relegated. And they said they kind of wanted to just get on with their job and shut out that outside noise. They are trailing, though, at the moment. And now the ball is with Seke. Forward to McLaughlin. The angle's getting tight. Holds up the ball to try and cut it back. And then it's struck wide into those seats behind the Leicester City goal. Ball forward to McLaughlin, did well to keep the ball in play, and it's Nordham who looks up into the sky as the ball heads up into the stands. So Leicester City have made a change. I think we're expecting a few changes from Brighton in the next few minutes. As here, it's across from Empame and a touch from Haley, the two goal scorers. Tierney on the edge of her own 18-yard box gives it back to Keys, out to Rantala. "20 minutes of this second half have been played. 2-0 to the home side, thanks to that really early goal right at the start of this second half.
It's all just a little bit pedestrian at the moment. Seems like the sting's sort of gone out of the game, and it's all a little bit it's all very comfortable, I think, at the moment for Brighton as well. And you know, it's the impetus is going to be on Leicester to make something happen.
Well, here it's with Ayan, who has come on for Leicester in this second half. The Moroccan international, former Tottenham player. And so a double substitution for Brighton. And I believe the changes that are being made, we'll see the goal scorers coming off. So Haley comes off, getting cheers from the home fans, having put Brighton ahead in the 27th minute. And Rosa Kafaji came on for her. So that was that change. And then Manuela Vanegas is the other player who's come off the bench. So 2 changes for the team leading 2-0. And both of those players get a touch having come off the bench. Back in field from McLaughlin. A turn from Simons. Out to the left-hand side from Vanegas. And, well, Leicester at the moment struggling to get into the Brighton half.
They're struggling to get any pressure on the ball as well, which is just allowing Brighton to control the game with their possession and drawing in between the lines there and disrupting Leicester's kind of organisation. And someone's always got to step out of position to go and get any pressure on the ball.
Leicester just watching Brighton pass it at the moment. Roll across to Vanegas. Decides to play it long, and it's Ale who leaps to head it out of play. Make sure it doesn't find its way to Rachel McLaughlin. 2 players who've come off the bench. Vanegas, the Colombian international, a new addition. Previously played at Real Sociedad. And Rosa Kafaji, who was the player who got that 93rd minute equaliser last weekend away against Liverpool. Another player with Champions League experience as well.
There's no doubting her quality when she gets on the ball, and even her vision just there trying to thread the pass through out onto this right-hand side. It's nice if you can bring a player who's had such a positive impact, you know, and scored a goal in Haley, and you're replacing with another quality player. I think that's kind of the standard that you want to get to, making sure that your squad, every player that's coming into the game is going to have a positive impact on the game.
Another Arsenal loanee in this Brighton side.
Seem to have a good link there, don't they?
They do. Good link to have. I think here the referee might well have produced another yellow card, and it's the Leicester City captain who's booked, Sam Tierney. Means a free kick for the home side. Leicester were going to have two players in that wall. We're just about to see just how tall Rosella Ryan is in comparison to her teammates. Well, Slagers with the free kick. It didn't look like a bad ball.
Really good delivery into a dangerous area. It's really difficult to defend that space because as the opposition, you're running back towards your own goal, and it's really difficult to see the ball and the player coming off your shoulder. But I think it might have been Charlie Rule just probably a little bit late on the arrival there, but it was a great ball in.
Headed forward by Vanegas. Taken away by Ale, just over Rule. Comes back to her again. Ryan's closest to her. Now with O'Brien. Forward from Boré. Now with Rantala. Does well to keep a hold of the ball. Cross that comes in is found by a Brighton head. But that looks slightly more encouraging from Leicester City.
It does. They've got numbers higher up, and Brighton overplaying in those deeper areas and allowing Leicester the opportunity to sort of press and get some pressure on the ball and win it back. And they just need a little bit more patience and a little bit more structure in the sort of creation to finishing phase, Leicester, because they're just rushing things and giving the ball back to Brighton, and it doesn't allow any opportunity for sustained pressure.
Well, Leicester have now conceded 8 goals in their away games this season, and they've been struggling to score on their travels, which would be an obvious reason why they've been struggling to win away from home.
Yeah, it's a difficult one when you look at the XG across kind of the Leicester side and the goals per game, and you know, it's only at 1.29, so it's very, very low. It'd be interesting to know what that is away from home.
Here it's O'Brien. Well, she did score in Leicester's last away game. That 97th minute equaliser, the latest goal scored in the WSL this season so far.
And it just goes to show that they don't give up, Leicester. So, you know, whilst this game is 2-0, Brighton need to be really, really mindful they don't do things like that where they overplay in the central spaces and give them an opportunity.
Here it comes to Rantala, comes back to her. Now it's O'Brien chasing it. O'Brien! And Leicester have a goal back. Shannon O'Brien gives Leicester City hope. Just over 15 minutes left to play. And that makes it Brighton 2, Leicester City 1.
Well, yeah, really, really difficult one for Brighton there. They've given the ball away in a short space of time, and they've reacted quickly here, Leicester, and it's a great finish, really, really cool finish into the bottom corner there, and but Brighton have created that problem for themselves, and they're always going to try and overplay in those deeper spaces. It gives Leicester the opportunity. Their shape change has got numbers higher up the pitch, and they're back in the game now. That will give them some confidence.
I feel like we manifested that.
I know, I need to stop talking, I think.
No, it's good from... it was strange that essentially exactly what we were talking about, just as the player we were talking about, the kind of time in the game that we were discussing, and all of a sudden Leicester City have a goal back. Just now the 1-goal lead for Brighton. Ball is back with Swaby. Now to Tierney. And that goal, you imagine, will make a real difference to these Leicester City players and just how they're feeling mentally and physically, because they would have, I mean, 2-0 down, 15 minutes to go, you're probably feeling quite fatigued, aren't you?
Yeah, you're feeling a bit flat, but I think now the little bit of adrenaline will kick in, and I think the shape changes help them as well. They've got numbers higher up the pitch and they're able to deal with things a little bit better. So, you know, and they're not out of this game. As we were saying, you know, they go all the way to the end. That goal against, obviously, West Ham, and here's another opportunity for them.
So Shannon O'Brien with her second goal of the season, and Leicester's second away from home in the Women's Super League as it's headed into her path again. O'Brien, did she control that with her arm? No appeals really from any of the Brighton players as it's out to Rantala, and now the flag is raised. But what a difference a goal makes. There's suddenly a real positivity about Leicester City.
There is, and you know, they're able to jump press a little bit more and get pressure on the ball, and when they go forward they've got numbers higher up, they're not quite as isolated, and that's causing some problems for Brighton because they don't have as much time on the ball when they're in those deeper spaces now, and going from a back 5 to a back 4 has really helped Leicester.
Rick Passmore, who took the job initially on an interim basis, had been working at West Ham, but left West Ham for family reasons. More convenient for him to work at Leicester City. And their start to the season enough to see him given the job on a permanent basis. Brian with the pass just a little bit too strong for Rantala there. And now Brighton having to do a slightly rare thing in this second half, which is do some defending.
They're being put on the back foot a little bit here, but I also think they're creating the problems a little bit for themselves by overplaying in certain areas. I think like they probably did in the start of the first half, they're going to have to solve the problem. You can see Vidicic there is asking for them to go a bit longer and not get caught in the deeper spaces, but they're still playing, and that's inviting pressure from Leicester.
Back with Swaby. Seke trying to pose a problem for that Leicester City defence. Taken out by Swaby, who, when I've seen Leicester actually this year, I don't know how much you've seen of them, but I mean, she is really important, I would suggest, to that Leicester defence. Swaby, she seems to kind of be involved in an awful lot of what they do right defensively.
Yeah, and I think she gives them a little bit of calmness when they're looking to build out as well, which is important. I think when you're a team that's you know, wants to try and build some momentum in the deeper areas, she gives you that little bit of composure.
Now with Simons. I am back to Ale. It's then launched long by McLaughlin. Dossi was out of her penalty area, so brings it down with her chest. But now play's stopped, and it is a Brighton player who will require a little bit of medical attention. So, well, Brighton looked comfortable at 2-0, but that Shannon O'Brien goal, it's going to make the last 10 minutes or so of this game very interesting. and means that the Brighton manager just wants to have a word with some of his players while this treatment is handed out on the pitch. Maybe a left knee might be the issue here. Both of these sides, as you might expect, at this time in the season, perhaps have got a few injuries, a few bugs as well in their sides. But the good news is that their captain is okay after that little bit of treatment. And, well, did they need Fran Kirby today? We'll tell you at full time.
Yeah, she looks nice and warm there anyway, all snug as a bug there.
She does. It's one of those massive coats. And, well, Fran Kirby might have hoped to be out there today, but another player who's looking nice and warm in a bit of home merchandise covering her legs is Michelle Adjaman. After that superb summer for her, really made her mark as an England player, a player that just provided so many important moments in that European Championship defence for England. It's a really sad thing to see that she's not playing at the moment. And I think she's a player that even Leicester City fans would have liked to see playing today. I think both of them, really.
Yeah, she's a fan favourite, I think, across the league, isn't she, with the way she goes about her football. So, yeah, really disappointing that we don't get to see her for the foreseeable future.
It is such a shame that every time you hear of a player's injury in the Women's Super League, you're just waiting for the next sentence to be that it's an ACL. Here it's Jutta Rantanen who's down, and she doesn't look happy at all.
No, never nice to see a player in distress like that, and hopefully she's okay.
Well, both players went for the ball, and it was Venegas who slid in for Brighton. Jutta Rantanen staying down and covering her eyes and looking in some pain as well. The Leicester City forwards. And having just mentioned the injuries and the illness that both managers are having to deal with at the moment, will he be required to make another change due to an injury to Rantanen with 8 minutes left of the 90?
It's looking that way, isn't it, unfortunately, and we just wish her all the best and hope she's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can see from her expression that she doesn't look at all happy, that she's in some pain. It's that left leg that's concerning her. And that will be a blow for Leicester City, obviously, for the rest of this game. And if she's required to miss any more football, but maybe she will be okay. It doesn't, well, yeah, it looks as if Leicester are going to make this change. So Rantanen will come off, and that knock to her leg means that Leicester are going to have to make another change. And, well, I mean, the body language tells you everything there. She does appear quite distressed by whatever the knock is that she's picked up.
Yeah, it's never nice to see a player, you know, that upset. It's like I said, we wish her all the best, and hopefully not as serious as she maybe initially thinks.
So 6 minutes left of the 90, but we'll expect a bit more than that due to the injuries. And another change made, and Nelly Lass is the player who's come on, the 17-year-old. A third appearance off the bench for her for Leicester City. I hope she was relatively warm before she came on.
Yeah, didn't get a lot of time to prep there, did she? Just straight into it.
and I'm just trying to work out where everybody's going to now be playing, and it's certainly not like for like, is it?
No, it's not. I think Leicester was already sort of struggling a little bit with obviously the depth in their squad and positionally where people are going to be, and I think these changes have just meant players have had to adapt a little bit, so it's not necessarily as you say, like for like changes.
Well, she is a fullback, so maybe we weren't expecting her to play up front. But a blow for Leicester City, who've given themselves a little bit of hope with that response from Shannon O'Brien to the 2 goals scored by Brighton. Oleslagers with the throw. Seke comes back to Seke. Laid back to the edge of the penalty area for goal number 3 for the home sides. And you feel now that that will be the goal that secures all 3 points. Slagers to make it Brighton 3, Leicester City 1.
Again, it's down this left-hand side, the little combination play. Really short backlift there, makes it really difficult for the goalkeeper to know and react to when the strike's coming in, but great finish down in that near post. And I don't know if the goalkeeper was unsighted because she dove a little bit late there, but it's great play from Brighton down that left-hand side. They've caused problems down that side all afternoon.
I think our opportunity to see that again would suggest that, yeah, there were a few players that might have blocked Leipzig having a better view of that, but still a lovely quick passing from Brighton. And now 3-1 up as we edge closer towards the 90-minute mark. I think Brighton will feel they've got this game won.
Yeah, they probably just needed that goal just for a little bit of bit of breathing space.
Here it's with Simons. Forward to a shot from Rosa Kafaji. Goes just wide of the left-hand post. Well, why not try from there with your team 3-1 up?
Yep, 100% coming inside onto opening the goal up and being able to get a strike away. And again, it comes down that left-hand side for Brighton. They've had a fair bit of success down that side of the pitch today.
Brighton heading for their first win in 5 in the Women's Super League. Leicester heading for a 21st game away from home in the WSL without collecting a victory. Perhaps this was the story we might have been expecting before this game kicked off. But I think, in fairness, Leicester City have played their part in this game.
They have. I think they'll be really disappointed with not sort of capitalising on the momentum they had in the first half. And they had some really good opportunities. They just didn't take them, and they were punished in the end because Brighton did take theirs and, you know, have controlled the game for most parts since that point.
First game of this season at the Amex Stadium for Brighton. They were rather hoping they could put on a winning performance for the home fans. Heading that way, unless there are some late goals from Leicester City. Well, everybody's up at the minute.
They're all going forward, yeah. It's they know there's not long left, so trying to get that high speed running up so they don't have to do any top-ups up at the end.
We've got 7 more minutes to be added at the end of the 90, and I think a lot of that added time was due to that injury to Utarantala for Leicester City. So 7 minutes. Does that give Leicester City any hope of getting something from this game? They'll need to get their second goal soon if that's to be the case. It is their goal scorer who's chasing the ball at the moment. Now, whistle blown by the referee. Next match for Brighton will be an away game against London City Lionesses. Their next home game is against Chelsea. Something to look forward to. Will Fran Kirby be back for that one?
She'll certainly have her eye on it, I've no doubt.
As for Leicester, they've got a League Cup game against Crystal Palace, and then they've got a home game against Manchester City. So some tough games coming up for both of these sides as Charlie Rule comes off late on for Brighton. Caitlin Hayes is the player who gets a few minutes right at the end of this match. Here it's forward, comes back out. Seke tried to bring it down. Leicester keeping bodies in their box. Midfield from Minami to Kafaji. Long sleeves and gloves from her. Now with Minami, whose cross is blocked inside the 6-yard box. Well, Brighton fancy a fourth here.
They're pushing good numbers forward, aren't they? And I think at this point Leicester are just wanting to see the game out with as fewer injuries as possible, and to focus on the next one that's coming up, because it's been a long afternoon for them.
Ball comes to Kafaji, still racing forwards. Decides not to go for the shot herself. Leaves it for an effort that's blocked away. Back up the pitch again for Brighton. Are they satisfied with a 3-1 win? With Cankovic. Given back to her by Olislagers, who got Brighton's third of this afternoon. I think at the moment Leicester City will just want that full-time whistle to go, won't they?
Yeah, they will. It's been a long afternoon for them, especially in this second half. And whilst that goal that they scored to take it to 2-1 obviously gave them a little bit of momentum, this second half has been mostly Brighton, and you know, it's been a long afternoon.
Simon's here. Leipzig pushes it away. Comes back to Seke. Brighton have been threatening to score a fourth, and they get it before full time. She has had an excellent game, Kiko Seke, and she seals it with a goal. Brighton now lead Leicester City by 4 goals to 1.
Really well picked up here, a long-range strike. Anticipation there to follow up and get the tap in at this late stage in the game just shows the desire from Brighton to want to really turn the screws here, and Seke finishing that off. It's a brilliant afternoon for her. She's been great all day.
Yeah, I think she's got at least an assist as well, hasn't she, along the way?
And everything good in the first half came through her in terms of the build-up play as well. And, you know, she certainly played her part in all the goals today.
It did feel like the longer this match went on, the more likely it was that Brighton would get another goal. We were just saying that I think Leicester were rather looking forward to that full-time whistle going.
Yeah, it's been a long afternoon for them, but you know, I think the player of the match today is CK for me, because she's been involved, as we just said, in everything, and she's got her just rewards there. Goal right at the end, just to finish off what's been a brilliant performance.
She will always be remembered, I think, for getting a hat-trick on her WSL debut.
Nearly scored an absolute worldie as well in the first half. Just hit the
yes,
bar
she did,
there, didn't
yeah.
she? So that would have been maybe a contender for goal of the season.
And just as she's awarded the Barclays Player of the Match, this is an opportunity for her to get a standing ovation from the home fans, as some very late changes are made. I think Jankovic is the other player who is coming off, so 2 changes made late on. Fuka Sonoda, one of the players who has come on, and also another appearance for Eliana Martin, the young forward for Brighton. And we're also going to see Eriksdotter for Leicester City. She might not have much more than a few seconds if she is able to get onto the pitch. So Eriksdotter, it's confirmation that she is on, but I don't think her involvement will make a change to the scoreline here. This might be the 5th. But Leipzig stands in front of that shot on target for Brighton, with just a few seconds left to play. Now to Kafaji. Kafaji, Martin's asking for it. Well, if she'd been found by Kafaji, she would have had a tap-in.
Yeah, well, I just wonder whether the early cross in behind the Leicester defenders there would have been the better option, because would have taken out 3 of the Leicester players. But they've still got an opportunity here, Brighton, and Leicester want to make sure they don't concede again, because it'll be really, really disappointing for them to end the game, you know, in a 5-1 situation.
Late corner for the home side. The punch from Leipzig. Leicester take a quick free kick. How much more time is left? It's really up to the referee at this stage. And that is the full-time whistle. And it is a first win in 5 in the Women's Super League for Brighton Hove Albion. It is a 21st game away from home in succession for Leicester City without a win. Haley to give Brighton the lead at half-time. Pomme getting Brighton's second early in the second half. Shannon O'Brien gave Leicester City a little bit of hope before goals from Olislager and then Seke in the 94th minute. It is Brighton that claim a victory that leads to lots of smiles. Brighton have beaten Leicester City by 4-1. A scoreline that perhaps slightly flatters Brighton, although I think once they kind of got into attacking mode, that it looked as if, I mean, Leicester were really struggling to deal with them.
They did. Second half, I think Leicester really tapered off, and even the goal that Leicester scored was through Brighton's kind of overplaying in the deeper spaces and allowing Leicester to get pressure on. So I think at the end of the day, comfortable win for Brighton, but probably could have even been 1 or 2 more if we're being really honest with it. And Leicester have got a really a big mountain to climb, especially with their away form.
Yeah, something that just isn't happening for Leicester City away from home again and again and again. And as you say, there's been a change of personnel on the pitch, there's been a change of coach as well during that time. It has not led to a change in results away from home. And I think Leicester City will feel disappointed, especially against the Brighton side who had also equally been sort of struggling for victories this season.
Yeah, they would have looked at this game and thought they might have been able to get something from it, because on paper, as you said, you know, it was fairly evenly matched in terms of their current run of form. But yeah, Leicester just didn't take their opportunities when they had momentum in that first half, and Brighton turned the screws, worked out the press from Leicester and how to get around it. And I just think Leicester didn't really have necessarily a plan B that was effective enough to cause Brighton any problems.
Just saw Frank Kirby heading down into the tunnel, a player who was missed for Brighton today, but perhaps not missed by Brighton today, fortunately, for different goal scorers today.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You want to share the goals around, and I think the medical team and the technical team will be really pleased that they've got the job done without her and given her the opportunity to take the time that she needs to make sure she's ready. I'm sure she'll have her eye on that Chelsea game, no doubt about it. But a fit and firing Frank Kirby is a different proposition for any team that's going to face Brighton.
As for Leicester City, they don't get any easier. Manchester City for them to play next in the Barclays Women's Super League, and we're talking about injuries and illness, and that's something that the Leicester City managers had to contend with.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, and they don't exactly have a lot of squad depth as it is, and you know, when you then have injuries and illness on top of that, it makes it really, really difficult. And you know, we talk about their away form, but I think in general it's something that the club need to look at in terms of that squad depth and making sure that they've got the ability to cover those issues when they arise, because it is a long season with a number of games. So it's a problem they're going to have to look to solve, probably more longer term and short term, making sure they get some results on the board.
Maybe though different ambitions for both of these sides this season. I think Brighton were hoping to be one of those teams testing the top sides. For Leicester City, we were hearing from Rick Passmore ahead, you know, recently, sort of saying, look, we were considered maybe among the favourites to be among the teams getting relegated, and I think they're hopefully going to create enough that will not be the case this season. So there's an opportunity for us now to hear from the Barclays Player of the Match, Kiko Seke, who is with her captain, Maisie Simons.
Maisie, a really hard-fought win, that one.
Yeah, we made it harder than maybe we needed to when it went to 2-1. You know, I thought it was just our luck to dominate the game and then not get all 3 points, but or to put it all on the line like that from a silly mistake. But yeah, we fought back into it. We were really composed in front of goal today, and I think that's the difference that we've been missing. And yeah, the girls were excellent today.
Yeah, I mean, you found it a little bit difficult at the start as well. What needed to change, do you think?
What was that, sorry?
You found it a little bit difficult in the first 15 minutes or so. What needed to change?
I don't know, you know, like for every game I feel like there's maybe 10-15 minutes where you're not in control, but I was so glad when we turned it around in the first half. We got that goal. It was a great finish from Maddie, and that really just calmed us down. And then after that, you know, I thought we played really good football, especially that second part of the first half, and you know, we need to try to figure out how we can do that before we score from the start of the game.
And I know you're the captain, but I mean, I suppose that's real leadership on the pitch. You suffered a little bit, but then you got through it, and you never really looked back after that first goal went in.
Yeah, we didn't, and you know, there's so many leaders in the team, so many people pushing on, and we have that experience in other players as well helping us push on. So we knew we just had to get through those moments where we weren't in complete control. We knew, you know, we were the better team, and we were going to come through eventually.
Yeah, some really interesting midfield movement. It did seem like you were trying to target that Leicester right-hand side, your left-hand side. Is that what it was like? Was that part of the game plan?
Well, it was just trying to figure out where the free player was and where the 2v1 was, and then it ended up being that side. And then once we figured that out, it felt like we really capitalised on that.
Kiko, just a question for you, if I can. How much are you enjoying playing in this Brighton team this season?
Yeah, I'm so happy to play this team. Everyone is so good.
Perfect, right. Maisie, if you can do the honours.
Oh, for me.
Kiko, you are the Barclays Player of the Match.
Well done, Kiko.
Congratulations.
I think Seke might have thought that that award was going to Maisie Simons, but definitely given to her. So Brighton beating Leicester City here. The other full-time scores, London City Lionesses 3-1 up against Aston Villa. West Ham getting their first win of the season at home against Everton. And Chelsea, you would say, dropping points certainly in a 1-1 draw away against Liverpool. That after Manchester City beat Manchester United 3-0 yesterday. It's the North London derby to finish this Barclays Women's Super League season. And so, having heard from the Barclays Player of the Match, let's hear from the Brighton manager now.
Really hard-fought win that in the end, wasn't it?
Look, it was. I think first 20 just took us a little bit of time to settle into the game. We were probably our own worst enemies. We knew we had to be switched on 90 minutes where we get caught with 2 long balls, runners in behind, once from a free kick, we're jogging back. We've sort of turned our backs and could concede a goal from absolutely nothing. But then once we sort of settled down, started to play our football, then I thought we were quite the dominant team and deserved to win.
Was it just that? Was it just down to a bit of nerves and a bit of maybe concentration, or did you change anything sort of midway through the first half as well?
No, look, we adjusted. We came in a little bit differently today. We still wanted to play the exact same football that we have been. Second half, when they went to a 4, then we adjusted the press at the top just to get 3 onto their line. And yeah, look, I think it was just settling nerves coming into the Amex, trying to get back into winning ways. The passes just weren't sticking at the start, but then once we found our few little adjustments, then we managed to get full control and made a little bit of a sloppy mistake to give them an opportunity to score. And I did like the reaction there. We got control back, scored 2 more wonderful goals, and yeah, get to celebrate 3 points.
You said you asked your side to be clinical. You weren't just clinical. You scored at really important moments as well, didn't you? Especially that second goal, just barely a minute after half-time.
Yeah, look, it was. It's a fantastic way to start the second half and to get that second goal. But it's all about trying to get players in the good position. So even like Malise coming in to score, Marissa's coming in to score. They're inside the box, taking touches. So this is the football we want to play, and the more people we can get in good areas, it gives us a better chance. And today probably left a few more out there as well. But the moments we got when we had to be, we were clinical.
And not to be negative, but did you feel, I think you've touched on it already, really, that the one negative maybe is that your issues maybe came from, you made them yourselves a little bit?
Yeah, look, it is, and it's probably to be excused. So it's always a little bit difficult to settle. Something we need to find how to quickly settle, because you could go 1-0 down and it's all from our wrongdoing. So good lessons to learn from that. So that's the one thing we'll really reflect on, really talk about. And it's just, yeah, mentally you have to be ready in this league. Otherwise, one moment you lapse of concentration, the quality is so high that you can get punished.
Great moment for Madison Haley as well, her first home goal for Brighton. Scored away at Leicester last season. Certainly enjoys playing them. And maybe the start of a run, I mean, you're looking for options in attacking areas, and she's certainly given you one there.
Yeah, look, we are. So it was probably a little bit fast track for her into the starting 11. So I had to have a few conversations with her this week. And look, she's terrific. She'll only get better. She's been out for a little while, and we're hoping to build her up. But, you know, we lost Carla to concussion symptoms, like delayed onset. So then we lost her in the pre-match while we were eating here at the stadium. So that made us even more thinner. So I just checked in with her at half-time. She said she felt fine. And then we still need to look after her because, yeah, we can't afford to lose her again.
Is it a frustrating time to have a few weeks off now when you're just starting to build some momentum, maybe?
Look, we want to play, but look, it is what it is. We would have probably loved to have had just in the context, would love to have had the League Cup game now, maybe instead of the midweek, so then we had the normal preparation. But look, it's a good moment now. We can just work on ourselves, work on individuals. It's a little bit different now with no game coming up, so we'll use the time well and slowly start to prepare for London City.
Lovely. Congratulations.
No worries, thank you.
So this is how the Barclays Women's Super League table looks at the moment. Manchester City 3 points ahead of Chelsea, who had to share the points with Liverpool today. Tottenham and Arsenal kicking off in just under 25 minutes' time. The North London derby at Brisbane Road. Brighton moving up to 7th. And as we were hearing there, they have a game against London City Lionesses next, who are the side above them in the table. They also got a victory today, the team promoted to the Barclays Women's Super League this season. So a little break from the club action for a few weeks. Back again on the 6th of December for Arsenal against Liverpool. Brighton away at London City Lionesses on the 7th of December. Leicester City get to host Manchester City next in the Barclays Women's Super League. But it is finished here at the Amex. Brighton Hove Albion 4, Leicester City 1.